Buffy the Vampire Slayer took the world by storm, redefining the action genre and enthralling millions with its compelling storylines and witty dialogue. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my all-time favorite television shows, and I return to it as often as I can and watch it as a brand new show each time. Almost 3 decades later, the show still holds up and is worth the watch for anyone who hasn't had the joy of watching it yet. There's not a whole lot to be said for a show that has been around for as long as Buffy has that hasn't already been said ad nauseum. So, I've decided to offer my ranking of the 7 seasons of the show. This is just my opinion based on what the different seasons were attempting to accomplish and communicate, and will most likely differ from other season rankings. Not that it should have to be said, but just in case, there will be spoilers in this video for a show that ended 20 years ago. With that said, let's begin. Coming in at number 7 is a selection that will most likely not get much argument from people, unlike many of my choices for the later seasons. Season 1 is the unquestioned weak link in the entire series, and understandably so. Television shows can often have a rocky start as the writers attempt to figure out the characters and how they want to go about telling their story. Joss Whedon notoriously suffers from this problem to a greater extent, with many of his shows struggling through their first season and many of them getting cancelled because of it. Season 1 has a lot of pacing problems, primarily due to the writers trying to throw too much at the audience at one time. In Season 1 alone, there are the required vampires, along with witches, hyena possession, a giant bug lady, and an invisible girl, and that's just the beginning of the odd subjects tackled in just 12 episodes. Despite all this, there are some great episodes. The Witch and Angel stand out among the offerings, and the series ends on a definite high note with Prophecy Girl. It's the worst season, but it's still very good. Next up will probably come with a bit of controversy, but I believe it to be the proper ranking. Second on my list is Season 4. Season 4 suffers from a lot of growing pains, which is ironic because that's primarily what the season is about. If I had reason to believe the writers did that on purpose, it might push this season higher up the rankings, but I think that was more of a happy accident. The initiative arc is slow developing and seems out of place in the show, with the villain being so over-the-top powerful that only an odd tap the power of the original Slayer solution was the only magic bullet available to stop him. Oddly, while I believe this to be one of the weakest seasons of the show, it contains some of the best episodes of Buffy ever made. Pangs, Something Blue, and Hush might be the best 3-episode streak of any television show, period. And, as is always, the season finale Restless is a great episode with hidden meaning and clues about the coming season sprinkled throughout it. Season 4 is a perfect example of a season that is less than the sum of its parts. Every show that has any kind of success has a formula, a perfect mixture of action, dialogue, and character development that hits the mark and turns a show into a mainstay. Season 2 is when Buffy found that formula. The characters grow deeper and their interactions with each other become more meaningful. The mythos grew beyond the simplified Monster of the Week formula to deeper, long-form arcs. The introduction of Spike and Drusilla, as well as Angel's transformation into Angelus, really pushed the season and the show to a higher level of quality. The major problem with the season is that the big bad Angelus doesn't really become menacing until the excellent 2-part season finale. Prior to that, he's cocky and petty to the point of obnoxiousness. As with all seasons, there are some episodes that are must-watches. In addition to the season finale, Halloween, What's My Line, and Passion are real standout episodes. Season 7 of Buffy had a heavy undertaking of giving the seminal series an appropriate send-off after the show had already had an even better ending earlier in the show, and it nailed the task for the most part. Season 7 delves into the mythos of the show, the source of the Slayer's power, the source of evil, and what it means to be chosen. The placement of Season 7 here in the 4th spot is more a reflection of how good the remaining 3 seasons are than a reflection of anything bad in this season. The growth of the protagonist is great and consistent with Patrick's characterizations, the villain is dark and mysterious and menacing, and the plot contains a number of twists and turns that are sure to surprise. While the entire season is solid, particular attention should be given to Selfless, Empty Places, and the series finale, Chosen. Season 6 of Buffy had a lot stacked against it. 1. The show was changing networks, moving from its original home on WB to the lesser-known UPN. 2. It was following the best season finale of any season that could have easily been and might have been intended as the series finale. And 3. Its main protagonist and titular character was dead. Season 5 had ended with Buffy making the ultimate sacrifice, giving her gift of death to the one she loved and finally finding rest from her sacred duty. So, the writers had to find a way to bring Buffy back, give the show a new start on a new network, and create a story compelling enough to bring viewers back. For the most part, they succeeded. Season 6 has a good story with a tragic ending. Episodes of particular interest include the musical episode Once More with Feeling, Tabula Rasa, Older and Far Away, and Seeing Red. Buffy the Vampire Slayer can be easily divided into 3 arcs: high school, college, and post-resurrection. Season 3 stands as the culmination of the first arc and is where a lot of Buffy fans believe this series officially became what we all think of as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Season 1 and 2 each had their high points and episodes of interest, but Season 3 is when the show truly became a good show. Season 1's theme was dealing with destiny and mortality. Season 2's theme was love, both good and bad. Season 3's theme was consequences, and the show highlights this theme perfectly with the introduction of a bad Slayer, Faith. What could Buffy do? What could she become if she gives in to her baser desires and takes the easiest path to success? Season 3 delves into this in the episode Bad Girls and Consequences. The ending to the season was a bit underwhelming when compared to some of the excitement seen throughout the season, but it does provide for a satisfying conclusion to the first major show arc. Make sure to check out Band Candy for some humor, Doppelganglin for some fun character interactions, and Earshot for excellent acting and a meaningful storyline. Season 5 is my favorite season of the show and reaches what I believe to be the culmination of the show's premise: Buffy's acceptance of what she fought so hard against in the first season. Buffy's death at the hands of the Master was foretold in the first season, and she fought against it, going so far as to quit momentarily. While she did finally return to fulfill her duty, she did so out of obligation, not out of acceptance. Season 5 sees this come full circle. She fought against her own mortality in Season 1, a mortality that is all the more significant given her role as Slayer. Fell in love and came to terms with said love going bad in Season 2. Learned that her actions had consequences in Season 3, which are even more significant as the Slayer. Faced the conundrum we all faced at some point in our life: what will I become, what will I do with my life, in Season 4, and finally came to the realization that sometimes the ultimate sacrifice is necessary to save what means the most to you in Season 5. While I love some of the episodes that followed Season 5, I do think that the continuation of the show did diminish the character arcs a little. Season 5's arc ends in the culmination of each character's journey to that point. Xander overcomes his slow start in life and his broken home life, gaining success in construction and proposing to Anya. Willow grows into her power, a metaphor for her true self coming out from the shy exterior we were introduced to, and finds love and acceptance with Tara. Giles returns to the council on more equal terms and even goes into business for himself, demonstrating his ability to move forward into a bright future. Even Spike gets a little bit of a happy ending, finally gaining Buffy's respect and being invited in as an equal. Season 5 was the perfect ending to the show, despite all the great stuff that came afterward. While the whole season is great, make sure to check out Full for Love for some background on Spike, The Gift for the show's best season finale, and The Body, which is one of the best episodes of any show ever made. So what do you think? How do you rank the seasons? Let me know down below. Thank you for watching.